If you have a firearm out and in the fight, controlling distance has to be one of your biggest priorities. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson out of Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. This is an officer-involved incident where police are called to help a woman who is being attacked. Make sure to click through to watch the brief from the assistant sheriff on this particular incident. It has all kinds of information about it. We do have audio, so let's listen in and then we'll come back and learn lessons.
Get off of her! Control 784, I'll be out with them. Get off! Get off! 784, get off! Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Metro Police, drop the knife! I'm telling you, drop the knife now! Metro Police. Drop the knife!
Boy, I think she did about as good a job as we could possibly have asked for. If you appreciate the lessons that you get here at Active Self-Protection, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss a lesson. Out of this one, I want to talk about being your own first responder and how dangerous it was that the police were the ones who had to stop in this particular threat. Secondly, I want to talk about keeping distance with your firearm, and I want to talk about shooting to stop the threat and nothing more. First, I want to talk about how long this police response took. Recognize that in most suburban areas, police response times are anywhere from 10 minutes to as much as 25 minutes. You are clearly your own first responder. You will be the primary agent in your own rescue. In this instance, it was wonderful that police were able to get there in time in order to save this woman's life who was being attacked. But you can't count on that, and this man could easily have given her a fatal wound anywhere in between. So truly, you are your own first responder, and we should not depend upon the response of police. Thankfully, this sergeant got there very quickly and she acted very decisively. Now notice that she's going to get out there to see what's going on, and immediately, because she knows what's coming, she's going to get her gun up and on target. Now, she would have been 100% legally justified here with no problems whatsoever pulling the trigger and stopping this man. But getting a good shot here is difficult, and it's certainly completely okay for her to issue a verbal command and give him a chance to get off her, not only to get him away from her so that she has a better shot, but because taking someone at gunpoint is always preferable to shooting them if you can pull that off safely for you and for the other victims. So I applaud the sergeant here for doing that and giving him an opportunity to give it up. Now notice here that she's backing up. I think she's doing a really good job here of keeping distance with her firearm. We want to talk about that as well. If you have a firearm out and this is potentially a deadly threat, that's why you'd have a firearm in your hand, maintaining distance, especially against a knife-wielding attacker, is what you want to do. Now, of course, what we're going to see here is this is going to make it difficult for her as she backs up. But you want to make sure that you are maintaining distance, because right now she is clearly in range with her force multiplier, but he is out of range with his. And therefore, that's an advantageous position. I see people drive in with guns all the time. That's a bad idea. She did a great job of backing up here. Now, notice as well that she's just gone over the speed bump. So something that I want us to think about here, that it worked out okay for this sergeant, and that's great. However, you can see she kind of stumbled over that a little bit as well. So a couple things here. Number one, if you can, moving sideways, moving diagonally, moving where you can kind of see what your background is generally what we would prefer rather than moving straight back, because you can move into things that aren't very good. If you do have to move straight back and you have the ability a little bit of distance like she had here, glancing over your shoulder so that you can see what's behind you and see if you have any bad things coming or any obstacles is important, as well as backing up and kind of almost moonwalking so that you don't trip on things. But she did fine, got over the top of it. Now this guy decides when she's communicating with others that he is going to run at her. And if you've ever heard of the Tueller principle, then you know that what that is that a knife-wielding attacker can cover at least 21 feet on a stationary target in the second and a half that it takes most officers to get a gun out of a duty holster and get a shot on target. Well, but she's not standing still here, and so what the true principle of the Tueller principle is that when that attack starts to come, you got to either have the gun out already and or be moving backwards, diagonally, sideways is preferred. So then that way you have the space to get shots on target, and she did that in an excellent manner. That's why the distance was so important. Now, she took 2 shots and she hit him with both. And I want you to notice the fact that she stopped shooting when he went down. He had a knife on him. Now, if he'd had a firearm on him, that would be a different calculus because he can still be incredibly deadly with a firearm even when he's down. But with a knife, once he went down and she's able to maintain her distance, his threat profile went down. So she stopped the threat. And that's exactly what we do with defensive firearms. So we can talk about the semantics all day long, but in a legal and a moral sense, you shoot to stop the threat. Now, you're shooting to stop the threat with a handgun in the center of mass, because in the high center chest is where that will reliably stop the threat. But you only put the number of shots in him that you need to stop the threat, which is why excellent marksmanship is important, as well as discernment and assessment of your effectiveness. So I think this sergeant did just a fantastic job in every capacity. She got out and she was ready with a mindset of self-defense and protecting others. She used her skills incredibly well, had a great plan to stop the threat. She covered her asp.